Hello, this is Linda, and in today's episode, we are going to Colorado. So hold on to your horses and let's go. Hi, I'm Linda, and in today's episode, we are going to Colorado. Grace and I are dressed up to get you in the mood. Oh, excuse me, Gracie lost her hat. Grace and I are dressed up to get you in the mood to go to Colorado. And this is the second part of my story. First part was in episode 6, so you got to see the first part. So we're going to start off by seeing how much of Colorado you know. And we're going to start off with a Boomer Brain Buster. So here we go, y'all. Hello there, everyone. Here we go. This is going to be all about Colorado. See how good you do. So let's start out with number 1. What brewery is located in Golden, Colorado? Is it A, Miller's, B, Budweiser, C, Coors, D, Corona? Did you guys say Coors? You're absolutely right. Coors was actually founded in 1873 by a German by the name of Adolf Coors, and a Prussian, someone from Prussia, was his partner, Jacob Schuler. They ended up merging with Molson, which is a Canadian brewery, in 2005. So now it is known as Molson Coors. I thought this was kind of interesting. During Prohibition, Coors converted to actually producing malted milk and near beer, which is beer that tastes like beer, but it doesn't have the alcohol in it. And he sold his malted milk to Mars Candy. Number 2, which state is not part of the Four Corners states with Colorado? Is it A, Nevada, B, Arizona, C, New Mexico, or D, Utah? Did you say Nevada? That's exactly right. Four Corners are Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. And in fact, you can be in all 4 states if you just stand in the middle there. It's really a cool monument to go see. Number 3, 80% of Colorado's water comes from A, rain, B, the CAP Project, Central Arizona, C, the Platte River, or D, snow. Did you guess snow? You are absolutely right. In fact, Denver averages about 57 inches of snow a year, but it's nothing to the 300 plus inches that fall in the Rockies. Little known fact here is Syracuse, New York has the most snow in the United States. They get 123.8 inches, which is over 200% more than Denver gets. Number 4, what is Colorado's nickname? Is it A, the Golden State, B, Centennial State, C, Mile High State, or D, the Millennial State? It's B, the Centennial State. Colorado was made a state in 1876 on our country's 100th anniversary, and in 1976 it became 100 years old and the Centennial State. Number 5, what became legal in certain areas of Colorado in 1991? Was it A, marijuana, B, 3-2 beer, C, hunting without a license, or D, gambling? Did you guess gambling? You are absolutely right. Gambling was not allowed except for social reasons in Colorado. But then they okayed horse racing in 1950, the lottery in 1982, and casinos in 1991. And only in certain areas can you have a casino. And that was to help boost up their old mining towns who were just about to become ghost towns. And Colorado didn't want that to happen. So the voters approved allowing gambling in Black Hawk, Central City, and Cripple Creek. Today you'll see casinos. They try to hold on to that old Western look. I've been to Black Hawk, oh gosh, several years. It's been over 20 years, I think. And I was actually shocked because when I lived there in Colorado, we went every summer. It was just awesome. Number 6, this is the last one. What city is home to the U.S. Air Force? Is it A, Colorado Springs, B, Aurora, C, Manitou Springs, or D, Glenwood Springs? Did you guess Colorado Springs? You are absolutely right. The U.S. Air Force Academy was established in 1954. You can get a 4-year degree. To get in, though, you need at least a GPA of 3.87. And hopefully, of those grades, that some of them come from AP classes and IB classes, which are advanced placement in international baccalaureate. The cool thing about the Air Force Academy is that it attracts over 1 million visitors every year. In fact, it's the largest Colorado attraction at this time.
Hi, this is Linda. Well, I bet you're wondering why my partner here, Grace, and I are looking like a couple of beautiful cowgirls. That's because the second part of our journey is going to go to Colorado. So, how'd you do on the first part, on the Boomer Brain Buster? Did you guys all Coloradans now? Right on. So, Grace and I know that being a boomer, we are working hard to keep it together and share our stories. So the next part is going to be part 2 of my story, and Grace is looking like Gracie. I hate this hat. This is stupid. Sorry, Grace. Y'all sit back. Grace. Well, y'all sit back now, and here we go. We're gonna take you to Colorado. Right, Grace? I hate this hat. It's stupid.
Okay, sit back, get yourself comfortable, because here is my brief life story by me, Linda, part 2. This story is a continuation from my story in Boomer Therapy episode 6. My family and I moved from Orange, California to Denver, Colorado in 1967. We had 5 in our family. I was the oldest. I was 11. Then I had 2 sisters, 9 and 7. 5 of us drove 1,200 miles in a red Volkswagen. Do you know what that felt like? I'll show you in a picture what that felt like. It felt like this. Honestly, I had never been so happy when I got to a place in my whole entire life. Well, we found a house that was kind of a really cool house. It had a basement. It was in a really nice neighborhood with a lot of kids our age, and we had a lot of fun. The house itself, I have to tell you, I looked it up on Zillow, and that house, okay, so dig this. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 728 square feet, $491,466. I don't get it. My sisters and I and my friends would walk to school, and we would travel down our street to Tejon, and then we would head north down Tejon to school. On the corner of Alameda and Tejon was my elementary school, which was Valverde. Coolest building ever. And it was the first time I ever had hot lunch. In California, we brought our lunch and ate outside. And then right next door to it was the junior high. And that is 789. And it was Russell Junior High. Now, The cool thing about Tejon, when you're going to school, it is all downhill. But when you're coming home at the end of the day, when you're tired, it is uphill. And you can kind of tell from the picture of Rishel, you could already see the pitch. And you heard those old stories. Oh yeah, I walked to school during snow, barefooted, uphill both ways. Well, we had to go home anyway, uphill. We weren't barefooted. And sometimes in the snow. This is me in junior high. After junior high, when I started going to high school, because at that time, high school was 10, 11, and 12. I was in the 10th grade. I had to, instead of walking north towards school, I had to start walking south. And I walked from our street to the main street called Mississippi. I had to get on an actual city bus. Take the city bus. I went to South High School. South High School, another really, really cool building. We had to ride the bus to school. The school is almost 4 miles away. We didn't, again, have school buses. At the end of first semester of my sophomore year, my dad was offered another job, and that was to manage the American Furniture Store in Aurora, Colorado. So we packed up and we headed east to Aurora in 1970. When we got to Aurora, we moved into another really cool house that had a basement. Now this house felt more like a mansion because it was 2,240 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Now on Zillow today, that house is worth $425,562. The interesting thing is, it is not as expensive as a house in Denver that is only 728 square feet. Go figure. When I walked to school in Aurora, I had to go up. It was about a mile and a little over a half. So it was a mile and a half away. And I went to Aurora Central High School. So this is me walking to school. We had to carry our books because back in the day, we didn't have backpacks. I went my junior year and my senior year, and I actually graduated from Aurora Central. Now, I want to talk about my first job. I was a car hop at A&W Root Beer. I can sling gallons of root beer like you never seen. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. We didn't have roller skates or anything because our A&W was kind of on a pitch. You would end up hauling down to Colfax, which was busy at that time. And actually, the A&W that I worked at is torn down. I just found this picture. It's very close to what our A&W looked like. My second job was I flung chicken. Okay, I worked in Chicken Unlimited. It paid more than A&W, but it wasn't as good of a job. And I found the best job. My third job was at Stephany's Candies. Stephany's Candies was the coolest job. It was in Stapleton Airport. We would sell all kinds of homemade chocolates and a lot of the candy. Peanut brittle was homemade. All this. John, the owner, would bring in peanut brittle that was still warm. So I always had to bring some to my boyfriend, Lee. Stephany's Candies was mostly known for their box of what they call Denver Mints, kind of playing on the Denver Mint thing. They were delish. Now, the thing about Stephany's chocolates, when I worked there from 73 to 74. This history, starting in 63, that's when the brothers John and Gus had started it. It was a family business. But in 84, they sold it. From that point on, it kind of got dicey. It got really big. Stephany's Candies was everywhere. It was downtown. It was here. It was there. In about 2005, things started to kind of go south. April the 4th of 2006, the co-owner, Hal Stratman, he dies at 45 years old by suicide. He had a huge life insurance policy. So he was in such debt that he supposedly committed suicide, his family would get the money and pay off their debts. The thing was that when he bought that policy, he didn't wait for the 2 years before he committed suicide. But there are others who think that maybe she's the one that knocked him off so she could get the money. And I am going to put the Denver Post article. I'll give you the link. It'll be on my Facebook page for Boomer Therapy. You got to check it out. This is a picture of Stapleton Airport in the 70s when I worked there. Stapleton Airport was really close to my house, actually, because the runways were at the end of my block. If you went up my block until it dead end right there at the chain link fence. On the other side would be the airport. So it wasn't really that far. And when we worked there at Stapleton Airport, we had 2 shops. Stephany's Candies had one around the kind of in between C and D concourse, and then we had one in A concourse. Today, this is what it looks like. It is a housing and industrial park area, totally different. Actually, I have not seen it because I have not been back, oh gosh, to Aurora since our 20th reunion. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about high school shenanigans. Not a whole bunch of high school shenanigans, but a little bit. When I was at the end of my first semester as a junior, I fell in love with this guy. He had long hair. He was in a rock and roll band. And I went home and I told my mom, I said, I found the guy I'm going to ask to marry me. And his name was Lee, and he was a rock star as far as I was concerned, and I became his groupie. He played electric bass. He was in a band called Just Us, and he did play at several of the different 3-2 bars and things like that. We used to like to go to drive-in theaters. We would walk the mall like Buckingham Square because we usually didn't have any money. And if we weren't working, because Lee also had to, of course, practice. Another place we loved to go was Elitch's. Elitch's was an amusement park. It had a putt-putt golf course, and it was really fun. It was only open in the summer, closed in the winter. It had roller coasters and all kinds of different things.
Elitch's is not to see Denver.
Elitch's, unfortunately, closed down in 1994. It was moved to downtown Denver and became a Six Flags. Luckily, Lee and myself and my sons got to go back in 1994, which was the last summer it was going to be open before it closed down. Now, I have not been back since, so I have not seen this since 1994. But today it's a Six Flags. It's downtown. It has roller coasters and water park and all kinds of things. I graduated in June of 1974. I got a full-time job in an insurance company and things were going okay until my dad's store, the American Furniture store that he managed, went out of business. And so he had to help liquidate the store. And I found out later it actually sold to another entrepreneur in 1975. So that's why American Furniture is still around. But anyway, this man that helped my dad with the liquidation of the stores, he owned some stores in Phoenix. And so he offered a job to my dad and he accepted it. So they loaded everything up and I decided to go with them. Even though I was 18, I wanted to go. And my boyfriend Lee also went. So we packed everything in our cars, in our truck, and headed to Phoenix, Arizona. Now, the best thing that came out of Denver and Aurora in the 8 years that we lived in Colorado was, one, my little baby brother, and Lee, who is now my husband. My baby brother came along and he was born in Denver. I'm 14 years older than he is, but he's my little baby, and he's such a good little brother still to this day. Now, Lee and I get married in Phoenix, but I won't give you all the spoiler. So that's the end. Leaving Colorado, moving to Arizona.
Well, I hoped you like our second little journey into Colorado. We have a part 3. So we did leave Colorado and headed to Arizona, and that will be in the next part. But in the meantime, y'all learn something every day, hug a teacher, and peace out. Yeehaw. Yeehaw.